This video shows Ukraine forces destroying Russia's electronic warfare system Polya-21. The system creates radio interference and suppresses signals from navigation satellites, including GPS, and that's what the Ukrainian army relies on to aim its combat aviation, artillery, and missiles. U.S. military expert Philip Carber visited Ukraine in November and was on the front lines.
The Russians have developed and are using a new electronic warfare system. And at least on a portion of the front, it's not clear how much of the area and so forth, but it's about 40% effective. It is essentially distorting their location, so these munitions aren't hitting what they're targeted at.
James Lewis with the Center for Strategic and International Studies says the Soviet Union and later Russia has historically been good at electronic warfare.
All of the things you've heard about Russia are true. It is a meat grinder. Their troops are ill-trained. They're badly equipped. They aren't very good at planning. It's a benefit for them to be on the defensive because they don't have to think as much. One area where that's not true, though, is electronic warfare, building on their work that goes back to the last century. The Russians are strong in EW.
Brian Clark with the Hudson Institute says Russia started using electronic warfare about 6 months after it invaded Ukraine.
By jamming GPS, by jamming radio communications, the Russians are making it difficult for Ukrainian troops to be able to coordinate with each other because their radios are sometimes not working. And the biggest effect is on GPS because most of Ukraine's weapons are GPS-guided.
Yet Ukraine is also learning how to use EW.
I got this little gadget. Thanks to it, I've already downed a few kamikaze drones.
So Ukraine's been using these same techniques very effectively against Russia, and they're building new systems to do it better. So you'll see, hopefully, some of these Shahed missile or Shahed UAVs miss their targets because they're being jammed.
Experts say sanctions are forcing Russia to use its own government technologies, while Ukraine has access to private startups, foreign companies, and Western technologies. In their 2022 study, the Royal United Services Institute calculated that in the first months of the war, Russia's EW disabled about 90% of all Ukrainian drones and considerably interfered with the work of aviation. And what's more, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has drawn the world's attention to EW.
So at least on the military side, there's an awareness that this is a place where we need to be able to fight and to overcome our opponents, to overcome Russia.
In the recent aid packages sent to Ukraine, Western countries have supplied EW systems. Yet experts advise Ukraine and NATO to invest more in developing an electronic antidote to Russia's EW systems.
So it's very much a very dynamic situation where the technology changes really quite rapidly. And I think the best thing that Ukraine and its partners can do is continue to adjust, continue to put the money into identifying, analyzing, and then countering Russian EW equipment.
Lewis added the EW developments are watched closely, not just by NATO, but China as well. For Mariia Prus in Washington, Anna Rice, VOA News.